Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Marky Picks and welcome back to our 2026 college football preview series. Our final team preview here in the college football preview series. We've done every single Power Four team up to this point. We have one team left, and that is the one independent, and that is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish here. We're going to go over their schedule and season breakdown here, let you guys know our thoughts on this team for this season. It's a team that carries a lot of controversy. And Notre Dame fans, I will warn you right now, we're going to have some harsh things to say about your program, but hey, I don't like Notre Dame. You guys probably can tell, Penn State fan, so I don't like them anyway. But it's a team that does carry a lot of controversy, lots of storylines around this team just because with the new college football playoff rule that's in place for them, there's going to be a lot to discuss with this team for this season. So things that, could make some Notre Dame fans a little upset, but hey, let us know your thoughts down below. I'm sure you guys will. Hear what you guys think about Notre Dame this season. And if you guys missed any of our other previews here in this series, we've done them all to this point. There's a dedicated playlist on the channel right now to go back, get our full thoughts and analysis on for every single one of these teams. So let's close out the individual team previews with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. All right, so wrapping up all of our team previews, we've got the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and everybody already knows I cannot stand this program, but I'm going to try my best to keep the bias out of it because this should be a really good football team once again. I've got Notre Dame finishing 10-2, while Deshawn has them at 11-1. And on paper, I completely understand why he's that high because this might be one of the easiest schedules I have ever seen for a program with legitimate national championship talent. And it starts at quarterback with CJ Carr. And I think people need to remember just how good he already was last season. As a freshman, Carr started all 12 games, threw for 2,700 yards, 24 touchdowns, completed nearly 67% of his passes, and set several Notre Dame freshman passing records. And now he gets another full offseason with Mike Denbrock and Gino Duggley. And I think he takes a pretty big year two jump. And, quarterback definitely isn't the question with this offense. I think the biggest adjustment is at running back because Notre Dame just lost an absurd amount of talent there. Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price were both first-round NFL draft picks, which is ridiculous. And replacing that kind of talent with that kind of 1-2 punch they had is just not going to be easy. So they got Aeneas Williams, who's projected to be the starter. You got Nolan James Jr. and Kadron Young behind him. Aeneas Williams was extremely efficient in his limited work last season. So, now he finally gets his opportunity to become the lead back. I don't expect this room to be as dominant as Love and Price immediately, but Notre Dame recruits too well and develops running backs too well for me to think that the running game is just suddenly going to become a major weakness. At receiver, there's a lot to like. You got Jordan Faison back, who gives Carr another experienced weapon. You got Jaden Greathouse also returns. Then Notre Dame added Quincy Porter from Ohio State and Mylan Graham through the portal as well. Porter is especially intriguing because he's a 6'4" target, and he gives CJ Carr a big target on the outside. They do have to replace Malachi Fields, who went in the third round of the NFL draft. But, this is a still very talented receiver room with more depth than I think Notre Dame has had at times in the past. And then at tight end is another spot where there's going to be turnover because Eli Raridon is gone to the NFL. But this is a Notre Dame team, and we all know they're usually going to find another tight end somewhere. Cooper Flanagan is currently projected to start. You got James Flanagan behind him and transfer Ty Washington in that room as well. The offensive line should still be one of the strengths of this team. You got Will Black, Anthony Knapp, Ashton Craig, Charles Jagish, and Gerby Lambert. They're all projected to be the starters, and there's a lot of size, recruiting pedigree, and experience across that group. They did lose Billy Shrout to the NFL, but I still expect this line to be very good and give Carr plenty of time in the pocket. Defensively, I think Notre Dame could be absolutely nasty once again. They return Bryce Young and Boubacar Traore on the edges. And, they went into the portal and added Keon Keeley from Alabama, which is one of the more interesting additions on this roster because Keeley was an elite recruit coming out of high school, and now he gets a fresh start at Notre Dame. Inside, you got Francis Brew coming over from Pitt after earning honorable mention All ACC recognition. You got Tiani Gray, who transfers in from Oregon. That gives them a really deep defensive front with a good mix of returning talent and portal upside. And the linebacker room is loaded as well. You got Drake Bowen back in the middle. Jaden Osbury returns alongside him, and they still have guys like Kingston Viamiasa and Jalen Sneed in the rotation as well. So that's a lot of experience and athleticism in the middle of the defense. Then you get to the secondary, and this might be the best part of this unit. You got Leonard Moore back at corner after becoming one of the better young defensive backs in the country. You got Christian Gray, who also returns. Aiden Schuler back at safety. Notre Dame added experienced Colorado transfer DJ McKinney to the other corner spot. So, there aren't many obvious weak links on this defense. And with Marcus Freeman and Chris Ash overseeing it, I expect Notre Dame to be one of the better defensive teams in the country once again. And then we get to this schedule, which is why I think anything less than double-digit wins would be a major disappointment. They open against Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, which sounds difficult, but then they get Rice and Michigan State at home, go to Purdue and North Carolina, host Stanford, and then get the first game where I think things could get pretty interesting. At BYU, going to Provo is never easy, especially if BYU is as good as I think they will be. And then after the bye, they get Navy at Gillette Stadium, and then they probably the biggest game on this entire schedule is that Miami at Notre Dame matchup. And, they'll close with Boston College, SMU, and Syracuse. But, that's it. You got no Ohio State, no Michigan, no Penn State, no Oregon, no SEC heavyweights. For Notre Dame, that's an absolute gift. And that is why I got the Irish going 10-2 while Deshawn has them at 11-1. I think CJ Carr takes another step this year. The defense is going to be really good again. And there just aren't enough games on this schedule where Notre Dame should, be an underdog. Now, you would think 10-2 Notre Dame is automatically comfortably in the college football playoff, right? Well, maybe not. And I'm going to leave it right there because when we get to our college football playoff rankings video, there's a new rule this year that I think a lot of the casual college football fans either don't know about or haven't really thought through yet. And it could absolutely screw somebody over when these teams start stacking up against each other. So make sure you guys stick around for that one. But Deshawn, I'll throw it over to you. You've got Notre Dame at 11-1 and comfortably in the playoffs. So do you think this schedule is simply too easy for them not to get there? And how high are you on CJ Carr taking that next step in year two?
Yeah, to answer your first question, absolutely. This schedule is brutally easy. Um, Now, don't get me wrong, that week one game against Wisconsin is going to be a lot closer than what people think. That is a potential upset spot right there for Notre Dame. But as you pointed out, when you have Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Stanford, Boston College, and Syracuse all on your schedule, that's what, one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 teams right there. I'm just gonna be honest. You can just mark it as freaking wins
Yeah.
because none of those teams can measure up to how good this Notre Dame squad is. This team is lethal, man, and it's been that way for years. Especially like you said on the defensive side of the football, linebacker, freaking dogs over there. Defensive line got dogs. Corner room, they gonna be strapping shit up. I mean, they're going to make it tough for a whole lot of teams because their corners and their safeties and their linebackers all know what the hell they're doing. They got that it factor in them. All of them are going to be drafted. Simple as that. I mean, they're just that good. Also, CJ Carr. He's also that good as well. I wasn't high on him last year at all, but he shut me the hell up because I think he's good now. I think he's one of the more underrated guys in the league. Maybe could even challenge for the Heisman this year. Um, it would solely have to be off of QB play, not on because there's not really too many like big games on this schedule. Why is that? Because Notre Dame is cowards. But hey, they Notre Dame's definitely gonna have to prove it. Um, and even with this easy schedule, like you said, they're gonna have to prove it in the playoff. That's why I got them going 11-1 because I just don't see too many spots where this Notre Dame team can slip up. I mean, out of their three toughest games, well, let's say four. Wisconsin in week one, that's a neutral site. At BYU and Provo, that's a tough game on the road. But then your other two games against Miami, which is probably the best team in ACC, that's at home. You get SMU, which is probably a top three team in the ACC. You also get them at home. So it's like you get all these great teams at home or on neutral sites. You only have one true big road test. I mean, just with this schedule right here, if Notre Dame makes any big mistakes, I could see them being left out for a team that's 9-3 with a better resume. That's the only thing with this schedule. Now, we all know, the memorandum that Notre Dame has. If they get to that 12 spot, they're in. So, but I think like with two losses with this schedule right here, man, I just don't see how Notre Dame will be able to get in over someone else, especially if you lose two of those big games. Then it's like, what else do you have to show for yourself? Because you're pretty much hoping that some of these other boo boo teams are good to make your resume look good. And I just don't think it is. So I think this Notre Dame team should cruise through their schedule, and they should be suited for another playoff run.
Yep. So this is going to be a fast one, I think. Probably one of the faster schedule breakdowns we've had. But, they open up week one on a Sunday night game. I will be tuned in for this one big time because this game will be a good game. Current spread for this game is insane to me. Notre Dame's getting 20.5 points here over Wisconsin. This is going to be an extremely improved Wisconsin team. Now, you guys probably saw that Wisconsin preview. I actually had them missing a bowl game. I had them only getting 5 wins. Deshawn had them getting a 6th win. It came down to the last game for me. For them to either make or break their bowl season. I believe it was against Minnesota. I had them losing to Minnesota in that last game of the season, which would probably be Luke Fickell's last game coached for Wisconsin. But, this is going to be a big prove-it moment for Wisconsin. I think Luke Fickell gets his guys ready to go for this one. And I think Wisconsin, their style of play, I think can suit well for Notre Dame style of play. So I think a similar style of play, a team that likes to, usually do a majority of their damage on the ground. I think Wisconsin's defense can, slow down Notre Dame a little bit on offense. And offensively for Wisconsin, they're going to be a much improved team over the last couple of years. Colton Joseph at quarterback, this guy can make some plays. And, this will probably be the toughest defense he's ever seen, though, which, could cause for concern. But I still think Wisconsin can do enough to hang around in this one. So Wisconsin will cover this 20.5, in my opinion. And we all know Notre Dame early in seasons, they usually do not play their best football right now. So I don't expect nothing less here. I expect this to be a ugly game, maybe. I don't think it's high scoring. So I think this is one of those, when you look at the 47.5-point total, I might actually be a little on the under in that one. But yeah, I think Wisconsin come out here play competitively, and I will be rooting big time for Wisconsin anyway, because I can't stand Notre Dame. But it also could help Penn State schedule out if Wisconsin's coming out here and get an upset or win over Notre Dame, and maybe Wisconsin's all of a sudden ranked in the top 25 heading into that early matchup against Penn State, which I would be all for just to help Penn State resume out a little bit. But yeah, regardless, this game, it will be good. Neutral site game. It should be a nice little Sunday night, game here for college football in week one. But Notre Dame should be able to pull it out. Deshawn, what about you?
Yeah, I'm in full agreement with that. As of right now, like you said, the spread is 20.5. I mean, you're pretty much telling me that this Notre Dame team is 3 touchdowns better than this Wisconsin team. In reality, yes, they are. But in week one, no. I don't think they're 21 points better than Wisconsin in week one. I think this Wisconsin team is going to be fired up for this game. Like you said, it's a prove it year for this, not only Luke Fickell, but for this Wisconsin program because they've been so shitty. Now, it's time to get back to who they are. Like, this was once a Wisconsin team that was, kind of like not slept on. They were one of those teams in the Big Ten that could beat you on any given Saturday just because of their style of play. We already know they're going to have a hell of a good defense. Now, they've been underwhelming. This is a year where they need to get back on track and make it back to the postseason. As you know, in the Wisconsin preview, I have them going 6-6. Luke Fickell keeping his job. I mean, yeah, for real, even if they go 6-6, he could still be canned. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised. But for this game right here, like I said, Notre Dame usually does not play well to start the season, and that's against anybody, anywhere either. Because as you know, Notre Dame has gotten upset by some MAC schools, previously in the past 2 years. No Illinois, Marshall, like Texas A&M came into their crib and beat them. So I'm not saying that Notre Dame is an easy out, but they're not world beaters either, especially early. This is where you want to face them right here, especially on the neutral site. I don't care where it is. I think this Wisconsin team will come and compete in this game. They won't do enough, but they'll do enough to cover the 20.5 point spread, but Notre Dame eventually still wins.
And then they get to week 2, week 3, and week 4 here, where you're just, I mean, really throw in week 5 and week 6 as well. But I'll try and do my best here, and not going to fly through it. But they get Rice here. This is going to be a really, really bad Rice team. I mean, Rice was terrible last year. I thought Rice was going to be a lot better. Rice has an interesting style of play with their offense. They have like a weird run and shoot style offense. It's really weird. But that's not going to work at all against the Notre Dame defense. Again, they do have a good running back in Quentin Marshall. I think his name, Quentin Martin. I think his name is Quentin Jackson. That's what his name is for Rice. He's a good running back, but they don't really, they got Ja'Cory Brown at quarterback coming over from UCF. Don't really know much about their wide receivers. I mean, this is a fun style of play Rice has, but it is going to transfer way here against Notre Dame. Notre Dame will win this game by 4 scores at the minimum. Michigan State, that could be an interesting one. Again, first year for Pat Fitzgerald, but Notre Dame gets the benefit of this game at home. So, again, Notre Dame should be able to beat this team by 3 or 4 scores at the minimum. And then at Purdue, okay, I could see them having some trouble here because you guys remember last year, Purdue put up some damn points on Notre Dame. That score last year between Notre Dame and Purdue was like 56-30, which, yeah, it's a blowout, but you still get 30 points to Purdue, which I think is like most points Purdue's ever scored on somebody last year. But, we'll see. Purdue's at home. Ryan Brown, year 2. That could be a little sneaky one. But, this game at North Carolina, I think, is their biggest trap spot on the schedule in terms of mid-teams on the road this year. I think this place will be a sold-out crowd, and I think early on this season, North Carolina will be a solid team, okay? It's the later half in the season for me where I see North Carolina just going on a major losing streak. But at this point in the season, I think North Carolina is like a 500 team, I believe. I think they have a couple wins up to this point. I can't remember, but yeah, North Carolina beating TCU in Dublin, Ireland. So that's going to give them some momentum for this one. I think this is going to be a sold-out crowd, but I think Notre Dame is just able to come out here on the road and really silence this crowd and, again, dominate. They should be able to win this game by 2 touchdowns, but it could be a little somewhat close. But, Deshawn, what about you?
Yeah, starting with Rice, I mean, come on. This game's going to be a damn blowout. I mean, this just warm-up game for Notre Dame. Next, Michigan State, another warm-up game, man. Like I said, Michigan State going through so many changes right now. New quarterback, new head coach, just everything around that program is just not where it needs to be. Now, I'm not saying that, Pat Fitzgerald's a bad coach because he's not. I'm just saying in year 1, he's going to have a lot of things to figure out. I think year 2 will be much better for him, but not this year. And on top of that, going to Notre Dame, not happening. Sorry. Very next week at Purdue, I can see this game being, high scoring. So I definitely look at maybe an over for this game because, like you said, Purdue did put points on this Notre Dame team last year. They were actually scoring like at will until it got to a point where Notre Dame just buckled down and then over after that. But and then having this game in West Lafayette too. I mean, I'm not scared of Purdue, but maybe you could kind of get a similar type game as last year. Who knows? So I'll definitely probably be on the over. Then at North Carolina, I mean, I would love for this to be like a trap spot for them. I just can't trust this North Carolina program. I definitely don't trust the coaching over there. I think it's horrendous. I don't think Bill Belichick is the right person for the job over there. I really don't. Billy Edwards Jr. will be their starting quarterback. Um, I'm just not in love with this UNC team. I think they're gonna have another mediocre bad season again, and I don't think they're gonna be able to take down Notre Dame at all. I don't think this game will be close either. As of right now, that spread is 23 and a half in favor of Notre Dame on the road at UNC. I think Notre Dame covers that. Honestly, I really do. I, how's North Carolina going to move the football? I mean, do we really trust them to be moving the football in this Notre Dame defense? I mean, I mean, we could also be asking ourselves that with Michigan State and Purdue as well. But Purdue has done it before. North Carolina, I don't know. Too many unknowns for this North Carolina program. So I'm going to be on Notre Dame minus the 23 and a half in that game. I don't care where it is. Yeah, it'll probably be a sold out crowd for Notre Dame because the UNC fans and students are going to be leaving this game early because they're getting their ass beat. So Notre Dame, easy 4 wins in a row.
Then they get to the Stanford Cardinal, and last year when these two teams played out at Stanford, I was on Stanford on the spread there, and the money line didn't work out too well for me. And Deshawn is the Stanford expert, so I usually refer to him whenever Stanford's going up against a powerhouse here. So Deshaun's giving me the red light here not to take Stanford, and I'm gonna have to agree with him here. Notre Dame's at home. It is a look ahead spot to BYU, but I think getting this game at home is good. It avoids any kind of trap scenario. Stanford, Davis Warren at quarterback. You guys know my thoughts on that guy. I think he's a terrible quarterback. Coming over from Michigan, could he do some great things at Stanford? Probably. I mean, it's a lot weaker competition in the ACC, but regardless, this will remind Davis Warren why he had to get out of the Big Ten, because he's going to get absolutely rocked out here in this one. Deshawn, what about you?
Listen, I hate the damn Cardinal. I really do. As an Oregon fan, I freaking hate Stanford. But in terms of betting, I love Stanford. I love betting Stanford because it's just you're gonna get like super longish odds to bet them. And last year they were in a couple good spots. Granted, they took my money very easily because Stanford was very underwhelming and disappointing. But there's neither here or there. Stanford has to travel all the way to Notre Dame. Yeah, it's just not freaking happening. They're going to get blown out. And this kind of reminds me of Notre Dame, how after the loss to Miami, how they were. They were just annihilating all their opponents and beating them by double digits. This kind of like reminds me of like after week one, they're gonna start doing that because the level of competition. We have Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, and Stanford. I mean, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Now, yes, it is a look ahead spot for BYU, but this is Stanford. This is Stanford. And like I said, Davis Warren at quarterback, oh my God. Dude, I mean, he's gonna be throwing lollipops the entire game. Oh man. They're gonna take Davis Warren back to school. They might as well not even fly out for this game because they already know the shellacking they're finna get. Uh, Man, Notre Dame by a million.
And then they get to their first big time test of the season. They travel out to Provo to take on BYU. And now this spread right here, I think, is one of the most disrespectful spreads I have ever seen this season so far. They're giving Notre Dame 10 points here on the road. I cannot believe that. I really can't. That is just straight up disrespectful. I mean, are they really thinking BYU is that bad of a football team where they're going to lose by double digits at home? I don't see it. Now, granted, if it was at Notre Dame, I could see that being a possibility, but not out there. It's a tough place to play. I expect this to be the whiteout game as well. BYU puts on a hell of a whiteout, and I'm an expert of whiteouts, so I know a good one when I see one. BYU is a really good number 2 whiteout I've seen. So I expect this to be a night game for BYU. Hopefully it is. And bad things happen out there at night for again when you guys play at BYU. And I think this is the year BYU returns a lot of talent from that team. Last year, that was one game away from getting into the playoffs. They weren't able to get it done. This year, they returned pretty much a lot of those same players. They did lose some receivers, but Quarterback, running backs back. They got a solid ass defense once again. But I mean, you got to be shitting me with that spread at 10. That is ridiculous. Yeah, I'm gonna be taking that spread immediately because I there's no way that thing stays at 10. Regardless if BYU struggles during the year or not. I don't care what kind of BYU team we have at this point in the season. They're not going to lose this game by 10 points. They're not. I'm going out on a limb right there and saying it. I expect BYU to win this game, and they're damn sure at the very least going to cover that 10 points. That is just disrespectful because I think BYU matches up really, really well against Notre Dame. I think they play similar styles of ball. And yeah, I think Notre Dame has more talent than BYU, but I think that all gets canceled out when you travel on the road in a hostile environment. That adds a lot of factors into the equation. So BYU will get the upset win here, and they damn sure will cover that 10 points. Deshawn, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is disrespectful as hell. You're telling me that Notre Dame would be double digit favorites on the road in Provo against what me and you think is the eventual Big 12 champion? Just no shot. I mean, now you're just meat riding Notre Dame at this point. You're just meat riding them because I'm on BYU money line. You can get BYU money line right now plus 320. I'm on BYU plus 10. It's been bet down because Notre Dame opened as 11.5 point favorites.
Mm,
That is just unreal stuff. They have to be paying off somebody. But listen, they're going to be paying me because BYU is going to be winning this game. At home, this is a great spot for BYU. And then, like I said, look at the level of competition that Notre Dame has faced up until this game. I mean, the level of competition isn't going to match BYU. So this is definitely a step up for Notre Dame. And on top of that, the road environment here in Provo and the elevation is going to be a factor as well. I just really don't like this spot for Notre Dame at all. I think Notre Dame comes into this game very flat, and BYU just, for real, just out physicals them
yeah.
because, like I said, that's the reality of having an easy schedule and then having to play a tough road game against probably one of the best teams on your schedule. They're just gonna humble you because it's just the level of class that BYU has over the rest of the teams on their schedule before them is, in my opinion, astronomical. Because, like I said, this is my Big 12 champ right here.
Yeah.
I don't see Notre Dame beating BYU by double digits. I could see BYU beating Notre Dame by double digits. So kind of do a little reverse. Give me BYU minus a touchdown. Let's see how much that pays.
Right.
Because I think BYU can absolutely come in this game and win it and dominate at that because Notre Dame just won't be ready for this. So, yeah, give me BYU. They will hand Notre Dame their first loss of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you're high on BYU as the Big 12 champion. I may be the highest of BYU. I got them going undefeated, 13-0 this season, winning the Big 12 championship. Potential number one overall team in the country. Yeah, if I'm that high on BYU, there ain't no way in hell this is going to happen here at 10 points. Yeah, alt spread. I actually look for an alt spread on BYU there, and
Yeah.
you just get better odds. Because yeah, it's just one of those spots where you talk about the soft ass schedule Notre Dame's playing here. You know, how are they going to be tested in like a close game? Because this will be a close game, but in some of these other games, they should be blowing them out. So like, how many like game reps will they get in a competitive game environment and competitive game situation? This will be their first one, and going on the road and having to do it. Nah, I'm not saying it. I think this could get bad as well. I would not be shocked if BYU just goes out here and lays it on them bad. I wouldn't. But I do think Notre Dame is just, they're a little bit too much talented, I see, to get absolutely blown away. But hey, I would not be shocked, and I would love that if that does happen. But anyway, the next week they get a bye week, so it's a crucial bye week, I think, for Notre Dame. Because, again, I think they got humbled a little bit going out to BYU. Because up to this point, they're probably blowing out every single one of these teams by at least 3 or 4 touchdowns. I mean, outside the game against Wisconsin. But still, all these games, they should be winning damn easy. I mean, they should not have any sweats in any one of these games. And then they finally get humbled at BYU. And then you get to go play a Navy team that likes to control the clock. And, it's one of those teams that Notre Dame just seems to own a little bit. I mean, And Navy's had some great teams over the last couple years. I really was high on Navy beating Notre Dame over the last couple years, but it didn't happen. And I don't know what kind of Navy team we get this year, but I think it will be a little bit worse than over the last couple years. But yeah, I think Notre Dame will just come out here and be able to continue beating up on some porous competition. I think it's what happens here. It is a look ahead spot to Miami, but it is a neutral site game as well. But I still think Notre Dame's able to control just because of the physical line of scrimmage play. That's going to be the story of this game, and Notre Dame should be able to live up to the occasion here and get the win over the Navy midshipmen. Deshawn, what about you?
Man, I can't trust these running sons of bitches. They disappoint me every year, especially when they play Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Because Navy and Army will have really, really good teams, and you're like, man, this style of play may give Notre Dame some trouble. Who knows? And then Notre Dame comes in there and kicks their damn ass. I don't understand it. So until further notice, give me Notre Dame. Give me Notre Dame minus whatever. Um, I just can't trust them. I can't. Now, Navy should be decent. They should be decent, but I don't think they're good enough to beat Notre Dame. Especially not with any of their previous teams, which I thought were better. And I mean way better. Just not happening this year. Even though it's on a neutral site, don't care. Notre Dame wins. Now, this is a look ahead spot to their biggest game of the season, yes, in Miami. So could they potentially overlook Navy? Sure. But like I said, I just don't think Navy has enough to be able to rock with Notre Dame. So give me Notre Dame to win pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what kind of Navy team we get this year because that Navy team that we had over the last couple of years, that team was pretty nice. They had a good quarterback and running back. Blake Horvath, hell of a quarterback from Navy. Eli Heidenreich got drafted in the NFL, so it just shows you the talent that he had at running back, and they're all gone now. So they got completely new faces. They got Braxton Woodson, who's projected to take over at quarterback. Don't really know much about him. Some of these running backs, they're not really standing out to me as guys that I know. So, it's looking like a completely different Navy team. I don't know. I don't know what kind of Navy team we get this year. Maybe they surprise me. I'm not really expecting much, though, which is a shame. But that sets up this big showdown against Miami and another one of these big games. Now, this is a great spot for Notre Dame just because, again, they get upset against BYU. They get humbled pretty bad, I think. You get a bye week, rest and reset a little bit, get a nice little favorable opponent against Navy, and then get ready for this game against Miami. And I think Notre Dame will play very, very well. They'll play a lot better here than he did at BYU because I think the home crowd will give them a little bit of boost. Again, a rivalry game here. Notre Dame wants some revenge spot from last year. Lots of storylines built around this rivalry already, but even more just added on from last year's college football playoff Sunday selections, which made a lot of Notre Dame faithful upset, which Notre Dame can really have some bragging rights here if they go out here and beat Miami. I don't see it. I see this as a spot where Miami goes on the road. Let's Notre Dame know this is why we got in over you last year. We're just better than you. We beat y'all head to head last year. That's why we got in last year over y'all. And we continue to show you guys why we got in over you. And we're going to go on the road and do it once again in hostile territory. Notre Dame fans will be very, very mad after this result. And I understand it. But look at the current spread for this one as well. I still think it's pretty crazy. Notre Dame's getting 6.5 points. I think that's too high. It's reasonable. It's not crazy, but I still think it's too high. It should be, I would say, Notre Dame by a field goal, maybe 4.5. 6.5 seems too high, so I will be on Miami the spread anyway, and I will be on the money line because I think they win the game. But lots of storylines around this game. It will be a phenomenal game. One of the several phenomenal games of this November 7th week. So we continue to say it, each one of these previews. November 7th, clear your calendar. College football playoff elimination games from wall to wall slates all day long. You guys got to want to tune in for this weekend of ball. But I got Miami getting the win over Notre Dame. Deshawn, what about you?
Yeah, I have this as a true 50-50 coin flip game. Both of these teams very, very good. You're facing the number one team in the ACC right here. And then versus the number one independent school. um, yeah, Miami's damn good. Darian Mensah, Malachi Tony, that defense is is going to have studs. The offensive line is going to be good. Defense should be pretty good. They got other receivers that can get the job done as well. Man, I really like this Miami team, but I just think that the deciding factor for this game is home field advantage. That's really all it's going to come down to. And so I got to lean Notre Dame. Notre Dame should be favored by, I agree, 2.5, 3 points. So I'm gonna take Miami plus a 6.5. I also think that's way too many damn points. I think this is whoever has the ball last is gonna walk them down and win the game on a second field goal. And I think that's gonna be Notre Dame. They do get revenge from being left out in last year's playoff. This year, they're like, listen, you can't leave us out now because we got to win over Miami. And that's going to be one of the better wins in the country at this point. So, yeah, Notre Dame, they're going to take on Miami, but it's going to be a very, very last possession type win for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I mean even Miami's schedule because they play in the ACC, it's weak, but it's still think better. They play better opponents than what Notre Dame's played up to this point. So again, Miami might be a little bit more battle tested than Notre Dame into that one. I think it could help a little bit because I really am having trouble finding Notre Dame getting tested, mentally, physically, in really any one of these games outside of Wisconsin and BYU. Those are like the two games where I can see them getting tested physically and mentally. But some of these other ones, they should be able to just dominate. I don't know if that can help them a lot when they have to play against even competition that's already been battle tested. I don't know. I don't know what to think of that one. I don't think it's a benefit for Notre Dame. I think it could be a little bit of a hindrance. So, yeah, I think Miami will go out there and get an upset win. And then rounding out the schedule here, you get Boston College at home. This is just going to be a blowout game. Now, guys, remember last year, Boston College and Notre Dame was a surprisingly close game, which I was shocked. I mean, Boston College was playing their hearts out last year against Notre Dame. They had a chance to win. They really did, but in typical Bill O'Brien fashion, they choked the game away and ended up losing that one. But, yeah, I don't see anything happening here because Notre Dame's at home. That game last year was at Boston College. Notre Dame gets home field. They're going to take care of business here big time. Deshawn, what about you?
Yeah, this was earlier in the season. Maybe you can get somewhat of a game, but we all know Boston College, once it gets towards the end of the season, yeah, poop skadoop. But this Notre Dame team, like I said, is very, very well coached, very well rounded team. And on top of that, they get this game at home. Come on now. And I'm starting to notice a trend with this Notre Dame team. Like, why are they not playing any of the better teams in the Big Ten or the ACC? Now, granted, they're playing SMU and Miami, so they'll get a pass from the ACC. But from the Big Ten, what are we doing? Purdue, Michigan State, and Wisconsin? Why not, like, Nebraska,
Iowa.
Iowa, Minnesota, Penn State, Michigan? Why not any of those guys? It's because they're scared. They're scared. They need a for sure thing. So that's why, and two, like I said, like, of course, they schedule Purdue on the road. Why not go to Camp Randall?
Yeah.
Why not go to East Lansing? I mean, this is pathetic. But back to Boston College, yeah, they're gonna blow them out. BTA next.
Yeah, and this game against SMU will be their third toughest game on the schedule. It is a solid game here. Okay, I'll give Notre Dame this one. SMU should be one of the top tier teams in the ACC this year. Got an experienced quarterback in Kevin Jennings, but my problem with Kevin Jennings is I think he has major issues when he has to go on the road. He doesn't, I don't think, play his best ball on the road, and he's shown that over the past. I mean, just go back to that college football playoff game against Penn State a couple years ago. He was absolutely rattled in that environment. I mean, that was really, I think, just too much for him to go into. I mean, he was just not prepared at all. It was freezing cold, huge ass stadium in a whiteout. Even though it was noon, he just had no chance. And I see this kind of being the similar situation. Now, he could have learned a lot from that game going on the road to another tough environment here and playing a little better, but I still think he's somebody that I think is a hell of a quarterback. He's ultra talented, but in big games, I don't see him making those big time plays. And that's the issue I'm seeing here with this one, especially on the road. Like I already said, I don't think it's going to be a good situation for SMU. So I actually think Notre Dame can win this game pretty convincingly and maybe gives Notre Dame a little bit of boost of momentum here closing out the season. Hopefully, show the committee that, hey, we got 2 losses, but if they can come out here and get a dominant win over SMU, maybe they're like, okay, let's reevaluate things about Notre Dame a little bit. But Deshawn, about you?
Yeah, this SMU team is gonna be a good team this year. A lot of returning production, especially at quarterback, but this just isn't a good spot for them. And I also do think that this is gonna be an exact replica of that playoff game for SMU when they played Penn State. It is going to be brick at Notre Dame at this point. Late November. I mean, it's going to be freezing. And
Yep.
they're coming from what, Dallas, Texas?
Yep.
Wherever they are, Fort Worth, I don't know. But that climate changes right there, that affects teams a lot more than you think. Them having to travel, playing the freaking dead of winter is going to affect SMU a lot. This plays into Notre Dame's hands. Also, I think they have the better quarterback. They're the better coach team, better offense, better defense, better everything. And they're at home. Give me Notre Dame. I don't think they'll have a problem with SMU. And then also, I mean, of course, this is probably the toughest game on their schedule at Syracuse. You know, this Syracuse team is going to be, world beaters here. They're going to be a monstrosity to go play, and you saved them for last. Oh man, you're a bad boy. Yeah, this Syracuse team blows. I mean, I don't know why you would schedule them like your last game of the season. Like, yeah, let's go to the dome and play Syracuse. Like, why? What's the point? I mean, Syracuse is gonna be dead by now. Like, this game probably won't even be on TV. Like, put this on an app where you need a subscription.
Right.
Like, this is nasty work. So yeah, Notre Dame, of course, is gonna blow them out too.
I will say this: Steve Angeli revenge game.
With the roster around them, they're not gonna be able to compete. Come on, like you said. I mean, check out the Syracuse preview, man. You already know how we feel about them boys over there.
But going back to the SMU game, just to put more things in perspective, SMU's home stadium capacity seats 33,000 people. Okay, which is ridiculously small for a team like that. And again, that's just they're making jokes of that when they had to play Penn State a couple years ago. You could put 3 of those SMU stadiums, it still wouldn't be enough of a capacity as the Penn State Beaver Stadium. So, and, Notre Dame doesn't have the craziest stadium. Their only stadium seats 77,000, which, okay, but 2 SMU stadiums pretty much, and that's Notre Dame. But still, it's a tough place to go and play. Not seeing it against Syracuse. I would love Syracuse to play the narrative Steve Angeli revenge game. I think Steve Angeli plays his heart out, but it's just not going to be enough. Notre Dame will be able to win, but this game could kind of feel like that Boston College game from last year because that game came later in the season on the road. I could see that actually happening. I didn't think about that at first, but Steve Angeli, back up for Notre Dame a couple years ago, transferred out to Syracuse, got hurt last year. Hey, who knows? Who knows? Notre Dame, it would not shock me at all. All right, but they should not. And that wraps up this preview. As you guys can see, I got them getting double-digit wins. I think that is their floor. Their floor should be 10 wins. Their ceiling is 12 wins. It's just the way it is. The schedule is just so damn easy, and I just don't understand it. I don't understand it, but I understand why they did it because they want to take the easy way out because of that memorandum they put in where if they get top 12, they'll be automatically in the playoffs just because they're just, a bunch of pussies, I think. Hate to call it that, but that's just the way it is. But, Deshawn, what is their win total set at?
Yeah, before I get to that, I also agree with that statement. They pretty much gave him a schedule to where it's like, listen, you have no excuses right here. None. And you have 4 tough games. 4. So even if you lose all of them, I mean, you win the other 8. But you have to understand, out of those 4 tough games, you know, 2 are at home, one's on a neutral site, and one's on the road. So give them the 2 home games and the neutral site. That's 11 wins. So they made this schedule for Notre Dame very easy to where they wouldn't even have to use that memorandum this year. I don't think they plan to use it anyway because of how easy it was. They just put that in place just in case Notre Dame slips up for some odd reason. But in terms of their win total is set at 11 and a half. You can get the over 11 and a half at plus 164. The under, which is being heavily bet right now by bookmakers and other citizens like me and you, at minus 205. This is one that I'm not touching at all because I don't think Notre Dame goes undefeated because they're going to lose to either Wisconsin, BYU, Miami, or SMU. They're going to lose one of those games. I just happen to think it's going to be BYU. Could I see them losing week one against to Wisconsin and Green Bay? Yes, I can actually. I'm taking Wisconsin on the spread. Could I see them losing at BYU? Yes, I'm taking BYU on the spread. Could I see them losing to Miami? Yes, I'm taking Miami on the spread. You see a trend here. Their four toughest games we think the opposition will cover, and I don't think they have a current line out for that SMU game, but I'll probably have Notre Dame covering out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can't see an undefeated season. I think it's right on target with what it should be. And even if they go 10-2, I'm not about to super right here and bet a minus 205. So for me, it's a complete stay away.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually go through their schedule, they're going to be favored in every single game on the schedule,
Yep.
which, you're going to need an upset to get to the under. But, I mean, they're going to be favored in every single one of these games, but they're going to be heavily favored in 9 out of these 12 games. And you can even throw in that game against BYU. They're getting 10 points on the road.
Hmm.
Um, SMU, that'll probably be close to at least 14, give them at least 2 touchdowns there. I mean, even the Wisconsin are giving them 20 points. So they're going to
Yeah,
be
they're
favored
playing by
against,
double digits in
yeah,
all but one game,
yeah.
which is honestly crazy.
It's insane. I've never seen anything like it, I don't think.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know the state of this program moving forward, but if this is the way Notre Dame wants to handle things, yeah, it's embarrassing. That's all I got to say. And I don't think it's going to help them at all because I don't think a schedule like this will get you ready when you have to go in a playoff situation when you have to play against teams that have played the best of the best and they're going to be battle tested. They played in a lot of close games. Notre Dame, I don't know if they played in too many close games this year. Maybe one or two. You know, does that help them in the playoff situation? I don't think it does. So I think if you play a schedule like this, yeah, it'll probably help you get into playoffs. But if you want to make a deep run against similar type teams that have been tested, I don't see it working out well for you. So if this is the formula Notre Dame wants to use going forward, I don't know. I don't see it as being a good one, but we'll see. Maybe it helps. I don't see it though. But for this season, Notre Dame has a great team. They should be a playoff team. But at 10 wins, I don't know. You guys are going to have to stick around for that playoff video. You guys are going to have to see where that memorandum takes place, and it could really screw over some teams. You think Notre Dame got screwed last year? Well, they may end up doing the same thing to somebody this year. That's all I will say. But yeah, Deshawn, any final thoughts on Notre Dame before we wrap this up?
Well, yeah, in terms of my prediction, I think they're securely in, but yeah, seeing them go 10-2 and having that memorandum pretty much offer protection to them with an automatic spot over a team that has the same record as you or maybe picked up an extra loss in a conference championship game, you're still going to give Notre Dame the nod over them, even though, and this is the playoff committee's words, should not punish teams for losing their conference championship game. It should not be punished, and because, like I said, we've seen teams still get in for after losing their conference championship game. So it really does not matter, but this year it will matter, which is absolutely insane. This almost kind of feels like that situation can feel like when Florida State was left out and they were undefeated ACC champ.
Mhm.
This is not going to be good for the sport, and you're going to have a whole lot of pushback. And two, Notre Dame just needs to join the goddamn conference. Like join the ACC for all I care. Join the ACC.
Might as
Go
well.
ahead and join them, bro. Like for one, if Notre Dame joins the ACC, like I said, they're already in the ACC for basketball. It will make that a tougher football conference. It really would. Now you got Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Notre Dame,
Rising
SC,
Virginia Tech.
Rising Virginia Tech, UVA. Like you now have like good teams. And
Yeah.
honestly, if Notre Dame played an ACC schedule here, I think it'd be much tougher. I think it'd be a lot tougher because of some of the environments. But yeah, this Notre Dame team, you know, yeah, just a bunch of phonies over there. We know they scared. That's why they can't win it all because they just don't play enough quality opponents. That's how they want it. They just want to make it into the playoffs just to say they've been there and forget about it. So don't get me wrong, this Notre Dame team is very, very good, and they will be, I think, automatically in, just because of how easy the schedule is. They will be in for me, but you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't get in with this schedule, that could be cause for firing a Marcus Freeman. Just saying.
Honestly, yes.
Because there's just really no excuses unless you have injuries or quarterback injury, something like that,
Shouldn't matter. These teams are terrible.
right?
These
Yeah,
teams
it
are
shouldn't matter.
awful.
Yeah. Well, it'll be an interesting team to follow throughout the year. They will have a lot of pressure on them, I think, because again, you can't lose any game really. You gotta be perfect. But I mean, even if you're not perfect at some of these games, these teams are just so bad that you can get away with some miscues and stuff and still be able to win pretty easily. But you know, there's gonna be a lot to talk about in the playoff preview video, which will wrap up the college football preview series for us here. We've grinded out every single one of these Power Forward teams, gone over them in depth, and close it out with a tough team here in Notre Dame. And we want to hear from you guys. I'm sure Notre Dame fans, you guys will let us know your thoughts on this team down below. Also, if you guys missed any of our other previews here, check out the dedicated playlist on the channel right now to go back and our full thoughts and analysis on for every single one of these teams. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.